What's up, everyone? It's Benedict here, aka BHL Hudson. Welcome back to the BHL2 channel. And today we are talking about the latest teasers for Avengers Doomsday, which came out over the holiday season. We got the one with Steve Rogers, Captain America, returning. We got the one with Chris Evans as Thor coming back. There's been a pretty divided reaction. Although I have to say, I don't know if it's just my algorithm rage baiting me. I've seen mostly negative reactions. I've seen mostly people being not super psyched about this. But as a Marvel fan, and as someone who likes to yap about movies, I thought I'd come on here and give my take on these trailers. Specifically, Chris Evans coming back as Captain America. That was sort of the big shocker. So yeah, first of all, it's undeniable, no matter what I'm going to say, and I'm generally going to have a more positive take on this than maybe you'd expect. It's undeniable it reeks a tiny bit of desperation. The whole thing, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, bringing it back. It doesn't take a, fucking rocket scientist to figure that out, that these movies were extremely popular, and then the most popular characters left, and now they've dipped in popularity, and they are bringing back those popular, at the very least, the popular actors, Chris Evans and RDJ. How much of this was planned around the whole Jonathan Majors thing? I don't know, because, they sort of coincided with the franchise was down, and it could have used, the Chris Evans RDJ boost, and then also Jonathan Majors is out, so then they add RDJ. Were they going to bring RDJ back in another capacity? Was Chris Evans coming back? I don't know. But this is where we're at now. And yeah, as soon as they announced RDJ as Doctor Doom, that did feel like a, hit glass in case of emergency type of move. And Chris Evans as well. Yeah, I can see where people are coming from when they're like, wow, Marvel's really, scraping the bottom of the barrel. They need to... They're trying desperately anything they can to get people back in. I acknowledge the optics there. Does it work for the story? I think that's the main thing, is that comic book movies, comic books in general, superheroes, even a lot of fiction, but especially comic book stuff, characters never stay dead. Everyone's always coming back. And that is, it's kind of funny. It's also sort of an annoying thing. It ruins elements of storytelling, like finality and closure. But I think it's all about how you do it. There are ways they bring people back. I can't think of a good example right now, but or they kill people off and bring them back. Like BVS Superman to Justice League, where it's he dies in his second movie for sort of a shock moment, and then he comes back immediately, and you haven't earned any of the emotions with his death. You don't really care when he comes back, all this shit. That I think was poorly done. And I'm sure there are other examples, that's just off the top of my head. But I think it all does come down to how you do it. Robert Downey Jr. coming back, excuse me. I'm interested to see how they do it, because it's not just Iron Man, Tony Stark coming back, as far as I can tell. He is playing a different character, seemingly, which perhaps does not ruin his death in Endgame and, the finality and the closure there. Kind of a little bit like Wolverine coming back in Deadpool and Wolverine. I didn't really care too much, because I feel like I still got that moment with Logan, where it was that was that character's end. And now, yeah, fuck it, we're doing this, fun buddy cop thing. It is what it is. It was kind of lame how they, tried to redo some emotional beats with X-23 and that kind of stuff. I wasn't crazy about that. But in general, it is what it is. It's comic book movies, So if they're bringing back Robert Downey Jr. in an interesting way, and that incorporates into the story, maybe, they recognize him as Tony Stark, and it's weird and whatever. Could be kind of cool. Chris Evans coming back, it does feel, especially from the trailer, it's fuck, okay, let's just drop back in where we left him and just yank him back out, and he's coming for an adventure. But we don't really know yet what the movie's going to be, how that's going to go. So I think I'm reserving my, harsh judgment on does it work for the story and does it ruin his story until we see it. Because I love how Cap's story ended. I honestly, and again, because finality is so rare in these movies, I was such a big fan of he got that happy ending, and it was kind of the perfect happy ending for my favorite character in the MCU, and it felt very personal to me, just because I started watching it Captain America: The First Avenger. I loved him and Peggy's relationship, and then he ends up back with. I was like, man, it's like they did this shit for me. So if anyone should be mad about this, I feel like it should be me, and I might be when it comes out. But at the moment, I don't know. And I will say this is sort of where it's gonna get into my fanboying. Which is, I imagine, will surprise some people, because I've been accused of being a bit of a Grinch, and being a bit pretentious and whatnot. And I've criticized lots of movies for, nostalgia bait and for, lame cameos and, made fun of people who will go to the movie and clap at anything, even if it's stupid and lame or whatever. And then I was sitting there in the cinema watching, waiting for Avatar 3, and the thing came on, and it was Captain America and the Avengers theme, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't like, hey, it's that guy. I like him. Like, I totally fell into the thing that I always criticize, and then I'm always like, oh, that's so lame, whatever. And I literally was sitting there, I was like, oh man, I like Captain America. I remember seeing those movies when I was a kid. Isn't that cool that he's back? So like, I don't know, maybe I have a different. I don't take back, when they bring back fucking Bill Murray or whatever for the 100th time in Ghostbusters. I think that's stupid. But like, maybe I have a little more compassion for when something nostalgic shows up and then people, are excited about it. I'm not saying it justifies it. I'm not saying it doesn't make it lame. At the very least, maybe I can understand a little better since I'm getting to the age where now I experienced something when I was a kid and then I can see it come back. Because I undeniably, they play the theme and it's Steve Rogers and he looks happy and he has a kid and I'm like, oh man, it's Steve Rogers. Like, that's cool to see him again. So yeah, I have no, if you're like against, if you're like, oh, that's hypocritical, you're totally right. Like, I have no defense for this. I did think it was kind of neat. And I guess partially because I don't really care about these movies anymore, and not to make this like a life thing, but maybe because maybe I have more compassion now for people who get excited about this stuff, because I have more like life stuff going on, that the idea of Captain America, like a character I like coming back, is kind of like just a fun, like, oh yeah, he'll be in the movie, that'll be cool. Like, I kind of, maybe I get the marketing now, of like, yeah, I sort of just thought, oh yeah, that's a cool thing, I like him. Does it fuck up his story and his ending? Maybe. And that could be annoying and egregious. But am I gonna mind seeing Captain America again? I can't lie. Like, no, I think it'll be fun. Plus, these movies kind of fucking suck ass sometimes, you know what I mean? And like, there aren't that many interesting new characters. So sure, yeah, is it desperate? Is it kind of lame? Maybe, but like, bring back a character who I do like, who I am interested in, whose actor I like, who I'm invested in. All right, sure, fuck it. I don't like. I guess my point is, I'm like, I don't really care, leaning towards like, oh, that's kind of fun. And again, that goes against possibly everything I've ever said. I don't know, but that's just where I'm at. I will say, I do agree, the trailer itself looks a bit like a medication commercial. It looks like the bit in the commercial where like they list off all the fucking terrible things and like levels of diarrhea the medication is going to give you. I agree that, yeah, it looks a bit goofy. Just the way they framed it and edited it and whatever. But still, it's a tiny promo or whatever. I don't think that's indicative of the film. But yeah, they got me with the nostalgia, basically. I admit defeat, my bad. We'll see how it goes in the movie, though. In terms of the Thor promo, this one, I mean, I don't really care that much about Thor as a character, and we've seen a bunch of him lately, so, or at least more recently than Steve Rogers. So, there's not much like, oh my god, it's Thor, he's back. It is interesting, though, that they clearly are taking Thor in, a more serious direction, at the very least based on the way they handled this. And I think that it seems like a response to Love and Thunder, where it was like beyond SNL, type of silliness, which I think is good, because Ragnarok was fun, but then they overdid it. They did too much, and I think even Chris Hemsworth has acknowledged that. So I'm fine with seeing Thor being a bit more down to earth. And what fucking movie was it? I think it was Infinity War, yeah, where they did Thor like, he still has some goofy little bits with the Guardians or whatever, but like, they did Thor pretty fucking earnestly. I thought that was like a great mix. Like, and then in Endgame they turn him into a joke again or whatever. But like, in Infinity War, that's like, from memory, it's kind of like Thor's movie almost, where, it's tragic, his brother dies, and I remember he has a line where he's like, what else could I lose? And I'm like, damn, bro, that was kind of powerful, considering we just came off of Ragnarok. So I'm totally cool with going back to like a more earnest, serious, like, I've lost everything type of Thor. Except he has not lost everything. He has a daughter now, which I honestly completely forgot about. And that, I will say, that is the weirdness of the MCU, is that you have like this completely fucking stupid, ridiculous movie, and like, it almost seems like a completely separate franchise, just tonally, but they're in the same universe, so the consequences of that movie carry over to this seemingly more serious one. So yeah, the daughter he gets in, or adopts, as a Gore the God Butcher's daughter, is still around here. And it's just funny because she looks like Gore the God Butcher. She has like that, whatever, makeup or whatever it is. And it just immediately does remind you of like, oh yeah, this is, because it's sort of a serious promo and you're like, ooh, okay, different direction for Thor. And then you see a reminder of Thor Love and Thunder and you're like, oh yeah, that is kind of fucking weird that these are all in the same universe. But anyway, he has a kid, and that's deep, and he, wants to wants his kid to be safe or something. He gives a big emotional, impassioned speech or prayer or something in the trailer, and it was good. I thought it was well done, and I like that direction. And I will say I can't take credit for this. I saw this on Instagram somewhere, some post, lining all this up, but there does seem to be a focus on the children of the Avengers in this build-up, because we have Thor with his kid and talking about his kid. Steve Rogers has a kid now, and that was a big focus, the reveal of his trailer. Tony Stark had a kid in the last one, and presumably if there's some relation or link between Doctor Doom and Tony Stark, maybe his daughter will be in this, and that'll be kind of deep. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, and at the end of Fantastic Four in the post-credit scene, their kid is, hanging out with Doctor Doom or whatever, and something's going to happen there probably. So, yeah, some kind of, I don't really know what to make of that, what what that means about, the story, but there seems to be some kind of, parental element. Maybe they've all grown up and they realize the value of love and family or something because they're parents. Although I feel like they were pretty, they were pretty good people before anyway. I don't know, but that's something to know, I guess. Something to think about. Anyway, yeah, those are my kind of long rambly thoughts on the new Avengers trailers. I just want to talk about it because, I'm a Marvel fan. I've talked about Marvel movies on the internet for a long time, and I'm looking forward to this movie, man. I don't give a shit. I am excited for this in not in a way that I think it will be, mind-blowing or anything, but it'll be fun, dude. What can I say? When I'm in the cinema and the Avengers theme starts playing, I will smile. You got me. I'm cynical and I'm, sad about everything or whatever. I hate movies now, or so some would think. But I can still be got a little bit with nostalgia and with fun, to be honest. Not just nostalgia, but if it's good. The last two Avengers movies were good. There are still some good Marvel movies that come out. I like Thunderbolts quite a lot. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be cool. I'm a bit of a sucker for the MCU in certain ways. I have been watching it for a while and been invested in it. Yeah, we'll see what happens though. We'll see. Maybe my attitude will change. Maybe I will sour. Who's to say? But today I'm feeling jolly and good. Maybe. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Avengers Doomsday trailers. What did you think of them? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video. Check out my main channel, BHL Hudson, my podcast, The Poorly Planned Podcast, my Letterboxd at Real BHL Hudson, my Instagram at BHL_Hudson, and be sure to subscribe, please. That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.